Look up. You may not see them, but over 8,000 satellites are circling above you right now. This invisible infrastructure is changing everything, from how we fight wars, to how we trade stocks, to how we unlock your phone. But here is the question: who controls space? And more importantly, who profits from it? Let's dive into how we got here and where we are going. It began in 1957. A metallic ball named Sputnik was launched by the Soviet Union, beeping as it crossed the sky. The beep wasn't just a signal, it was a declaration. Space is open for business and for dominance. By the 1980s, satellites weren't just floating tech, they are essential tools for espionage, weather forecasting, television, and military communication. Today, they form the backbone of a $386 billion global satellite economy. Now, let's look at how big this really is. In 2023, the global space economy was valued over $546 billion, and satellites alone make up over 70% of that. The commercial satellite industry, companies like SpaceX, OneWeb, Amazon Kuiper, generated $281 billion in services, hardware, and data. And this is only the beginning. By 2040, Morgan Stanley predicts this could cross 1 trillion. But why? Because satellites are not just for space nerds anymore. They are critical infrastructure for finance, farming, shipping, defense, and disaster relief. Satellites are the new oil fields orbiting in space. Let's talk competition. Right now, SpaceX is the dominant force with over 6,000 Starlink satellites in low Earth orbit, aiming for global broadband. Amazon is investing $10 billion into Project Kuiper, its own satellite internet constellation. Meanwhile, China's Beidou system is challenging the USA GPS monopoly, especially in Asia and Africa. And India, it's catching up, launching dozens of commercial and defense satellites every year, and building its own Navici navigation system. This is no longer a race to the moon. It's a race to control the world's data highway. Today, over 8,000 satellites orbit Earth. But brace yourself, by 2030, that number would jump to over 60,000. Why? Because we are building a space based internet, fast, borderless, and always online. But it's not just internet. Satellites track cargo ships, monitor climate patterns, detect forest fires in real time, even guide autonomous vehicles. In short, they are becoming on-scene managers of Earth's economy. Now let's talk about risk. All this growth comes with a massive problem. Space is getting crowded. Collisions are no longer hypothetical. In 2009, an Iridium satellite crashed into a defunct Russian satellite, creating over 2,000 pieces of debris. And guess what? That junk is still out there. NASA estimates over 9 lakh pieces of space debris larger than 1 centimeter are orbiting Earth, each one capable of destroying a satellite in seconds. So while companies race to launch, no one is really cleaning up the mess. Regulation almost non existent. This isn't just pollution, it's a high speed minefield circling the planet. Let's talk about how satellites generate money. Satellites generate money in three big ways: connectivity, observation, navigation, and timing. For example, Starlink charges between $100 to $500 per month for satellite broadband in remote areas. Multiply that across millions of users, and you're looking at billions in revenue. Earth observation companies like Planet Lab sells real-time images to farmers, hedge funds, and governments. And satellite navigation systems are now linked directly to global banking systems and military weapons. We don't just rely on satellites, we are starting to depend on them. Now the question is government versus private. Who controls the sky? Now we face a major shift. For decades, space was state owned territory NASA, Roscosmos, ISRO. But now, private companies are leading. Over 80% satellites launched in 2023 were commercial. That's a massive power transfer. Governments are now renting bandwidth, navigation services, and even surveillance data from private firms. So the real question becomes if space is a public good, why is it becoming a private market? Now let's look at how this turns into a battlefield. Satellites are now military assets. They guide missiles, spy on troop movements, detect nuclear launches. In 2021, Russia tested a satellite killer missile, destroying one of its own satellites. The USA, China, and India have also demonstrated anti satellite capabilities. So, what happens when countries go to war in orbit? What happens when commercial satellites get outtaken, affecting millions of users on Earth? We are entering a phase where wars may begin with satellites going dark. What comes next? The future of satellite business isn't just in orbit, it's about control. Control over data, communication, navigation, and even climate intelligence. Whoever builds the largest, smartest satellite network wins influence. And influence is the most valuable currency of 21st century. So the next time you use Google Maps, watch Netflix on a flight, or check the weather, remember you are relying on a machine 35 km above your head, and behind that machine is a battle for power, profit, and policy. We are entering an era where satellites are as important as roads, power grids, and the internet. But while Earth has laws, space is still a legal Wild West. As countries and corporations stake their claims, the line between exploration and exploitation is blurring.